we shine together. Told you I'll be here forever. Said I'll always be your friend. Took an oath that I'm stick it out till the end. Now that it's raining more than ever, know that we still have each other. You can stand under my...
Hey guys, you're welcome back to my channel today. Thank you so much for stopping by. In this video, we'll be drafting a corset pattern for a plus size. So you can use this pattern for a 2-part corset and for a 3-part corset, and I'm making this for a bust 49. So if you're interested, keep on watching and let's get started. I've already gone ahead to mark out my point, which I'm going to be explaining to you guys. The distance from my shoulder to my chest line is 9 inches. Distance from my shoulder to my bust point is 11 inches. Distance from my shoulder to my under bust is 13 inches, and this half length is 19 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and label my lines. I have the chest line, the bust line, the under bust line, and the waistline. The next thing I did was to take half of my shoulder measurement. So half of the shoulder measurement I'm working with is 9 inches. I added half an inch to it because I'll be joining my sleeves. Okay, so I took 9.5 inches on the shoulder line, which is the start of the pattern paper. I also took the same 9.5 inches on my chest line. After doing that, I went down on the dot that I have on the shoulder line by 1 inch on my shoulder slope, and I'm going to slant from there into the neckline area. After doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to connect the dots on the shoulder slope to meet the dots on the chest line into a straight line. Next thing I will do is to place my tape on this straight line right here, and I'll divide what I have into 2. What I have is 8 inches. Half of 8 inches is 4 inches. I'm going to use my marker to indicate the 4 inches. On that 4 inches mark, I'll go inward by half an inch. I'll also indicate the half an inch with a dot. After doing that, I'm going to place the bust circumference divided by 4, which is 12.5 inches or thereabout. I'll place it on the chest line, and I'm going to connect from the shoulder slope to meet the half an inch, and from that point to meet the dots that I have on the chest line like this. After doing that, guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to take my bust span measurement, which is half of my nipple to nipple measurement, is 4.5 inches. I'm going to place the 4.5 inches on the bust line, on the under bust line, and on the waistline. After doing that, I'm going to connect all the dots into a straight line. So guys, next thing I'll do is to take my dart. So like I said, I'm drafting this corset pattern for a plus size. So on both sides of the straight line, I'll be taking 0.75 inches. If you're on a smaller side, you can just take half an inch on both sides. Okay, so I'm using 0.75 inches. On the bust line, I'm going to place my tape on this straight line, and I'll go down by 1 inch. I'll indicate the 1 inch with a dot. After doing that, I'm going to slant from the 0.75 inches to meet the 1 inch dot, just like this. Next thing I'll do is to place my body measurement. So I already have my bust circumference divided by 4 on the chest line. On the under bust line, I'll place my under bust circumference divided by 4, and on the waistline, I'll place my waist circumference divided by 4. After doing that, I'm going to connect like this. After connecting, the next thing I'm going to do is to measure the distance from my bust line to my under bust line, and what I have is 4 inches. I'll be using these 4 inches to form a circle all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to place it on the tip of the bust line. Just look at the way I am placing it, and I'm going to pass the tape all the way around. So I'm going to place it on the tip. Make sure it's on the tip, then mark 4 inches or whatever your measurement, the distance from the bust line to the under bust line, whatever it is what you are going to use to form a circle. Okay, so go ahead and form the circle just like you see me doing. After doing that, I'll connect it like this. So I've gotten my circle. In some cases the circle might even pass the center front. It does not matter. What we need is the upper parts and the down parts of this circle. Okay, so after forming my circle, this is what I have. So regardless of the dots that we already have on the under bust line, I'm going to place my tape immediately after that dart, and I'll take half an inch on both sides. Okay, so I'm placing my tape on the previous dart and I'm going out by half an inch. After doing that, I'm going to connect from that point to meet the waistline in a straight line. The next thing I'll do is to place my tape on the bust line, sorry, on the chest line. I'll go down from the chest line by half an inch. You can choose to maintain what you already have on the chest line. After marking the half an inch, I'm going to go inward like this by another half an inch. After doing that, I'll connect into a straight line. Thing I'll do is to place my tape on the shoulder slant and divide what I have into two. What is left there is 5 inches. I'm going to mark the middle point, which is 2.5 inches. I'll indicate that with a dot, and then I'm going to connect using my ruler from the middle of the shoulder to meet the bust point, just like this. After doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to tighten my over bust. To do that, I'm going to place my tape on my under bust line, and what I have there is 2 inches, so I'll be dividing the 2 inches on equally. I'm going to give half an inch to the center front, and I'll give 1.5 inches to the side front. So whatever the measurement on your under bust line is, divide it on equally. Make sure the side front has the bigger share of whatever you have. So I gave half an inch to the center front, and I'm giving 1.5 inches to the side front. After doing that, I'm going to use my ruler to slant from that point to meet the bust point. So I'm tightening my over bust to avoid gaping. Okay, so I'm going to connect like this. After doing that, the next thing I'll do is to create one part of the cup. So I'm going to connect from the straight line to meet the under bust point. So I'm using the deeper part of my ruler so that it will give room for the bust to sit. So guys, the next thing is to connect from that dart leg to meet this point, but I want to go up by half an inch so that the bust area will be a bit covered on the upper part. If you don't want it to be too covered, you can just connect, and you can go up by 1 inch if you want it really covered. So I went up by just half an inch and I extended the line. From that point, I connected back to meet the point below the chest line. So we have created one side of our cup. The next thing I'm going to do is to place my tape on the other side. That is where I placed my measurement, and I'll come inward by 2.5 inches. I'll indicate the 2.5 inches. On that 2.5 inches mark, I'm going to go down by half an inch. Okay, and I'll mark the half an inch like this. After doing that, I'll connect into a straight line. So this is going to be our new armhole. So if you are creating like a strapless or a sleeveless corset, this is what you should do. Okay, so with this you don't have to attach any sleeves. I'll place my ruler from that point and I'll curve to the under bust. You can see how the curve is. It has enough room for the bust to sit. So just like I did for the other side of the cup, I'll go up by half an inch and I will extend the line. Okay, after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and connect from that point to the armhole area, just like this. After connecting, guys, this is what we have for the other side of the cup. So if you want a yoke, go ahead and connect like this. You're going to cut through like this just so your yoke is intact. Okay, so I decided to blend this part of the cup more because it's not really giving. So I'm just going to connect it like this. After connecting, I don't even know which one I prefer. So I'm going to shade out this that area so we know that is where we are going to cut. The next thing I'm going to do is to place my ruler on the bust line, and I'm going to connect like this. I repeat the same thing just so I know where to cut when I'm cutting. I'll just highlight everything out. After doing that, guys, next thing I'm going to do is to come out by half an inch on this dart area, okay, just so the upper part of this corset is not going to gape when we are done sewing. Remember, we are sewing this for a plus size, so I went out by half an inch and I connected back into the other dart leg. For the neckline, guys, I'll take 3.5 inches for the neck depth, and for the neck width I'll take 4 inches. After doing that, I'll connect. So if you are doing a 3-part corset, on the center front go down by 2.5 inches, on the side front go down by 2.5 inches, and on the center go down by 3 inches, just like you see me doing. On this other side, go down by 3 inches. After doing that, connect all the dots like this. So this is for the people that want to cut out a 3-part corset, but I'm not doing a 3-part corset, I'm doing a 2-part corset. So I hope this was helpful. So go ahead and label so you don't get confused. This is center front 1, side front 2, and the upper part is 1. Okay, the upper part is 1 because you're going to cut and join it back together. After doing that, guys, remember we already added our body measurements on this pattern. So what I'm going to do is to replace my dart. I will not be adding stitching allowance to the pattern paper. I'll do that on my fabric. So I'll calculate the dart that I have on the chest line. I'll replace it. I'll also replace the dart that I have on the under bust line and the dart that I have on the waistline. After replacing the dart, I'll go ahead and connect. After connecting, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut. Okay, I'll blend out the armhole. So if you are doing a strapless or a sleeveless corset top or dress, go ahead and cut through the straight line that we have on the armhole area. But for this one, I'm cutting out the yoke, so just look at the way I'm cutting so you don't mess up your pattern paper. After cutting out, guys, you can go ahead and use a ready-made bra cup for your cup, or you can use a wadding to create your cup. So when cutting on your fabric, don't forget to add half an inch allowance all the way around the pattern paper. Remember, I said I've not added my stitching allowance, so I'll also do that on my fabric. So for me, I like to just place the center front and the side front back together and then cut it out in one piece when I'm cutting on my fabric. So it depends on what you want. For this area, if you are doing a 3-part corset, go ahead and cut out the other parts and then join them together and make them into one piece. Okay, so for the back, guys, the back is our basic back bodies. So I went ahead to add 2 inches as my zipper allowance. I'll label it my zip. Okay, and I've gone ahead to take the lines. So the lines that we need for the back is just the chest line and the half length, which I made a mistake. The half length for the front was 19 inches, so I'm going to increase this by 1 inch when I'm cutting on my fabric. I went ahead to take half of my shoulder measurement on the shoulder line, and I repeated the same thing on the chest line. On that point, I went down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope and I slanted into the neckline area. After doing that, I connected the point on the shoulder slope to meet the point on the chest line. The next thing I'm doing is taking my bust span measurement, which is half of my nipple to nipple measurement. I will place the measurement on the chest line and on the waistline, and I'll connect into a straight line. After doing that, I'm going to take 1 inch on both sides of this straight line. So if you're on a smaller side, take half an inch on both sides. On the chest line, I'll go down by 1 inch and then I'll slant from the waistline to meet the 1 inch mark, just like this. After doing that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and place my bust circumference divided by 4 on the chest line. Okay, I'll place it, I'll mark that. I'm going to place my tape on this straight line and I'll find the middle point, which is 4 inches. I'll indicate the middle point. After doing that, I'm going to use my ruler to connect from the middle point to meet the mark that I have on the chest line. After doing that, guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to place my measurement. I already have my bust circumference divided by 4 on the chest line. On the waistline, I'll place my waist circumference divided by 4 and I'll replace the dart of 2 inches. After doing that, I'll connect like this. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take my neckline measurement. So for the width, I took 4 inches just like I did for the front, and for the depth, I'll be using 2 inches. After doing that, I'm going to connect like this. So take note that I'm taking all my measurements after the zipper allowance. So you get to determine how you want the bag to be. If you want to have a yoke, you can decide how you want the yoke to be. So you can go down by 2 inches from the chest line and then connect to the other side of the armhole if you want the yoke to be deep. That is if you even want to have a yoke. Okay, you can also decide to cut through the chest line as your yoke, but for me, I'll go down from the neckline by 1 inch and then I'll connect from the dart leg just like you see me doing to meet the 1 inch mark, because I want a little bit of opening at the back. And you can decide not to even add a yoke, just cut it out like this. So the next thing I'll do is to adjust my zipper area. I'll take out half an inch from the zipper area and I'll connect just like this. After doing that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut. So the bag depends on you. Your yoke can start from the chest line. It can start 2 inches below the chest line. It all depends on what you want. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. So pay close attention so you know where to cut. After cutting, guys, this is what I have for the back. Go ahead and label your yoke. Okay, and these are my front piece. So this is just a pattern drafting tutorial. I don't know about the sewing tutorial yet, but if I do it, I'm going to upload it for you guys. So like I said, I'll be joining this center front and the side front, so I cut out in one piece. And yeah, this is my 2-part corset. That is all for this tutorial, guys. I hope it was helpful. If you have any question, go ahead and leave it in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.